Hello. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the stream. I am live here on YouTube and Twitch. Just going to change the thumbnail on YouTube now that I'm live, because I have to wait till I'm live to do it, I think, unless there's a better way. We're here to watch Survivor. Episode 8, I believe, of season 48. Wild that we're 8 episodes in already. Isn't that wild? That feels wild. Did I change the thumbnail? Yes, I did. That is good. Maybe I'll do like a little tweet or something. I don't know. Voting is up. All right, we'll have to check that out as we get through the episode. Mindy, thank you for the 68th month. Melfunky, thank you for the 17th. Let's start a prediction. Commercial. By 5, 12. Jessica, thank you for the 11th month. Jordan with 59. Hobo with 18. Thanks so much. Oh boy. I've been quite busy lately. I don't know if you guys have seen all the things I'm doing. Nora, thank you for the 49th there. And Miss Kirby, thank you for the 17th. Lots of scripted shows. Lots of them. Doing Tastemakers, doing Wheel of Time, doing The Pit, doing The Last of Us, doing Andor. Miss, thank you for the 37th. Cal with 47, thank you so much. Lots of stuff, lots of things, and we're here for some Survivor today. Josh, thank you for the 7th. We had a scary Shaheen episode last week. I'm hoping that we just chill a little bit this time. Josh, thank you for the 7th. Miss, thank you for the 150 bits. I've watched 2 of the Black Mirror episodes so far. Basically, what I said on the Tastemakers is that I think from what I've seen so far, the 2 episodes, it's good. I just wish that it was telling more of a story rather than just expanding on its concepts. And I thought that was particularly evident in episode 1, where like you're introduced to a concept and then you can pretty much, you're introduced to 2 concepts technically, but 1 major concept. And basically from the second it's introduced to you, you know exactly how it's going to play out. Just like from start to finish, you're just like, all right, here are all the potential ways it could go. All right, episode starting. Hold on. Hold on. We're going to also give you audio for a second.
That's who I want to. I don't trust, say, she's got to go home.
We're getting Mary, David. We're getting Chrissy. We're getting Kyle. And the plan on Shaheen. The previous or the next time on had David in some trouble. My theory at the time was that something about David potentially leaked. Something David did potentially leaked the Shaheen plan and he got in trouble for it. Also, if you didn't check it out, I did a podcast with Shannon, Survivor Global crossover podcast. About last week's episode. A little late to listen to it now, I guess, because you're about to watch the next one, but it was very good, I thought. Very fun. Lots of thoughts about the season as a whole. Just think of the 55th. And then think of the 21st in a row. Okay, this is almost exactly what I said in the podcast, actually. That Chrissy was basically like, oh, well, it's tribal council. I'm not like telling the truth, that she might still believe it a little bit, but it's in the vein of lying. Oh boy, Mitch saying he's played a scared game. Mitch could be our like our Charlie Brown. Did somebody say that just a second ago? I swear somebody just said that. I can't find it now. Oh, I don't love this. I don't love this. Oh, I don't love this. This is the second time now. This is the second time that they have gone out of their way to protect Joe and let Shaheen take the hit for a bad read. If it was the first time, I'd be chill. The fact that this is the second time is worrisome to me. They really went out of their way to show that like what Joe said was, I want to believe them, and Mary's the one I trust. While they had Shaheen consistently talking about really trusting Camilla and Kyle. And I'm sure that conversation had enough to bury both of them, but they went out of their way to make sure that Joe felt as clean as possible. Which is, by the way, basically the same thing they did when Kyle and Camilla tricked them the first time. Female deer? A retired gorilla? Yeah, think of the 20th. I feel like these are all awful choices. The criteria was size. I'm sorry, what is Joe saying? Sorry, I know I'm not talking a lot. This is a pretty dense segment. I genuinely, I wrote in the description of this stream, like we're finally going to get like real strategy. I think that's what's happening. They're properly merged. They're not split up. I don't think Siva's getting back together. I mean, Kyle could try to use it to take out Shaheen. I mean, it does make sense for Camilla. 100%. I mean, she's not included in this strong five alliance or whatever, as far as I'm aware. Late commercial. Commercial by 512? No. Next prediction. Does Star have a confessional? Yes, no. So if for some reason there's a challenge right away, we come back from commercial, it's a challenge, I'm gonna answer no, and we're gonna run a challenge prediction. That is the rule. I don't care if Star ends up having a confessional post challenge, will not count. If there's a challenge, it will be an automatic no. Here's the prediction. All right, let's take a look at the what's this? It's CBS Survivor vote. Survivor 50 vote. Okay. Time for another design element. Which individual immunity necklace would you like to see in Survivor 50? Necklace A or necklace B? All right, hold on. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I don't feel like trying to set this up to show you what I'm doing. I prefer necklace B. It's more unique. Necklace A feels a bit more generic to what they would normally do. Tribe supplies. Another decision regarding camp life. Tribe supplies. Give them their supplies or make them earn them. I want to give the tribes their camps. Is Jeff writing to me personally? No. This is me. I'm making the statement. I want to give the tribes their camp supplies at the beginning of the game. Survivor is hard enough. At least let them start on equal footing so they can start building shelter to protect themselves from the elements. Or I want the tribes to earn their camp supplies. It creates an instant disparity between the tribes, giving one an early advantage while testing the other's resilience, morale, and ability to adapt. We've already determined this is a 3-tribe format, I believe, because of the tribe colors. In a 3-tribe format, I'm going to say give them supplies. Because too often you see the disaster tribes just fall further and further into being a disaster tribe. And I have to imagine that in part that is because they don't have supplies or have enough supplies. So in a 3-tribe format, I'd rather them all have supplies to make it a little more even and a little less likely that we get a full-on disaster tribe. And I think we're about to come back, so we'll save the third question. We're back, and we have a challenge. So that's going to be a no. Looks like there are 4 polls. There's like 5 or 6 sections here. Is this like an elimination challenge? People get eliminated along the way? Oh, right. They're in pairs. What am I talking about? Yeah, Jeff really calling him out there. Jeez. Club condo. Don't know anything with the 19th. All right. Which pair wins? I'm just going to go initials. Shaheen Camilla, David Mary, Joe Eva, Star Mitch, Kyle, Chrissy with a C. And there's 5 of them? 5 pairs? Oh, geez. Okay. How many pairs eliminated in the first round? 2? Okay. What we'll do is which pair comes in first in the first section? I'm going to give you 30 seconds. Which pair comes in first in the first elimination section? And you will have to decipher the initials. No tacos for you. I know. We're already talking about losing votes and stuff. It's like, geez, I do kind of want tacos. Mitch is just so good. So most money went on Joe Eva with Shaheen Camilla in second. Shaheen Camilla not looking primed to come in first. But the digging is a bit of a wow. Shaheen and Camilla are in last right now. Joe Eva. Joe Eva win first place in this segment. Star and Mitch, Shaheen and Camilla are out. All right, next segment. Which pair is eliminated in the next one? Which pair is eliminated? You have 30 seconds. Oh, wait. No. Hold on. I'm going to cancel this. I'm going to give you more than 30 seconds because there's a commercial now. All right, which pair which pair is eliminated in the next section? You have 1 minute. I do want to briefly mention so that whole segment with Shaheen, or sorry, with Joe, and picking the pairs where Joe was like, then this person picked this person. Exactly. It was just such a weird, such a funny segment to me. Like, I can't tell if they're trying to pump Joe up or if, you know what I mean? It's just I can't tell if Joe is the winner or if Joe is kind of like the he's being set up. Yeah. I just anyway. Tribe supplies. Third question. No, I already did tribe size. Third question, twists. Another decision surrounding gameplay. What? You don't have to say another every time. The right twist at the right moment can change the game for players in exciting ways. But some fans prefer a more straightforward game where strategic alliances are all that matter. Which are you? Keep the game straightforward. I don't like twists. They get in the way of a clean game. I want a season where players can lean on strategy and social skills, not sudden surprises that blow up their plans. So let's go old school. Twists should be kept very rare. Or keep the game shifting. I love twists. They add excitement and uncertainty, keeping the players on their toes and forcing them to adapt and rethink their strategy. Bring on the twists. Wasn't there already a question that was like this before? Didn't they already have like a one that was like more advantages that are game changing or less advantages? Like honestly, I feel like I have to say no because I don't know what they're asking me. What do twists mean if not for like if we've already answered a question about twists and advantages, then what is this one about? I don't want to add more onto one of the if we already answered yes, I don't want to answer yes twice. I don't want the most twisted advantagified season of all time. I have to say no. I can't even consider yes. Did I see Jeff's interview? He seemed annoyed at the outcomes. No, I did not, but I'm going to choose to believe it in this moment because it sounds funny. All right, most money is on Kyle Chrissy to be eliminated. We're back. I will say, I think all the Club Condo references were great for the Club Condo podcast, but I do agree it's starting to become too much. Now the Club Condo podcast doesn't seem like a funny inside reference. It feels like a bit too on the nose. They're kind of ruining the brand. Jeff said some of you want a season with no idols, no switches. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be more boring than you think. He did not. What a lack of faith in your core concept. Right now, Kyle, Chrissy are in last. Yeah, this looks rough on the knees. Ugh. Sometimes you'll like use a knee when you're climbing, which is why I often wear pants climbing instead of shorts, just for a little bit of protection. But boy, does it hurt regardless. Oh my god, Mary's knees are like bleeding. Yeah, why are they going so slow? The boy, I thought it broke too. I need an instant replay. I was convinced that it broke. Yeah, let me. It is possible that it didn't break. It is possible that just like based on how we saw it, it looked like it did. But man, did it look like it broke to me. I really want to see it play back. Okay. Uh, Kyle, Chrissy are out. Who wins immunity? David, Mary, Joe, Eva. Wait. You can't fall yet. I'm still setting up the prediction. Chill. You have 30 seconds. Joe's out. Hope you didn't vote for Joe. Yeah, there's no shot David's gonna get this one. I do think this is one I could do well at. Be like being small is an advantage for sure. But like this is one that where like climbing does have like a direct influence, I think, in how well you can do here. I think it's a pretty iconic one. I think having longer arms is an advantage, would be my guess. Longer arms in comparison to your height. Because the longer your arms are, the further away you can lean without having to like hug. Although I don't know if that might not work though. Down goes Mary. My instinct is that I'd want to be away from it if possible to increase my leverage on what I'm holding. The closer I am, the the more my angle goes downward instead of to the side. But if there's not enough to grab at all, then it might not work. Lower thing with the 31st in a row, 32 total. Eva takes it. Yeah, Kels, I think that's probably true given what we saw, that it's so thick that trying to leverage it won't work, and that it'll be more about getting close, giving as much friction as possible. I couldn't tell you how long I'd last. I've never done anything that specifically that like that. Like if the challenge was specifically who can hang on to a pole the longest, and it's sort of thin enough that I can leverage on it and change the angle, I could do well. If the challenge was specifically about who can like hang on to the little crimps with your fingers and your feet, I think I could do well there. Um, it feels like that might, like I would have tried a bunch of different techniques, but it might have just come down to who can just hug it the best. And who has enough strength to weight ratio to just like stay up there. If that's the case, then I might not be able to beat somebody that's smaller than me. I think I have a pretty good strength to weight ratio, but um, if I'm out there playing Survivor, there's a good chance that there are people out there that are stronger than me, because you're gonna have some athletes. You're gonna have people like Eva, like somebody like Eva. I think probably pound for pound stronger than me, uh, and so probably would beat me there. All right, yeah, let's do the star confessional. Or no, we have a journey to do, right? We got to do the journey. Who loses their vote? Shah. Jeez, I just spell people's names. Shaheen, Camilla, Star, Mitch. Oh wait, no, this doesn't make sense. Hold on. I shouldn't be naming them. I should be doing how many people lose their vote. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, somehow more. That's the prediction. And I will keep this prediction until we find out. So if the journey doesn't come yet, I'm going to keep the prediction up until we get the journey. Ava plays money. She's probably stronger than me without the pound for pound. That is probably true. I will definitely say that is probably true. I do think that rock climbing is a really good thing to train if you're going to be on really any reality show. All right, we're back. VG, you think the 11th? Yeah, it really does feel like Chrissy's leaving tonight. See, this is strange to me. The fact that Kyle would prefer to take a shot at Shaheen before Joe. I mean, at the end of the day, you have to take a shot at all of them in general. Like Joe is the bigger threat here. If you take out Joe, what is the connection between Shaheen and Eva? You know what I mean? If you take out Shaheen, it just signals to Joe and Eva that you can't be trusted anymore unless you can convince them to turn. But Joe overall is a much bigger threat, jury wise, positionally, in terms of the allies he has. And think of the 16th. Hold on. I did not follow that. Oh, I see. This is literally the Mario Party game. This ultimately comes down to luck, unless somebody screws up. Yeah, that's true. So the Mario Party game is luck because you're trying to be the last one standing. This one is definitely about. I mean, if nobody colludes, it's luck, unless somebody screws up. In this instance, the fact that they can collude means that they can screw someone over. I mean, the game is over the second they decide they're going to collude against Star. One person lost their vote. Star has lost her vote. Which to me implies she will get another confessional at this point. Um, hmm. What should the prediction be? Screw it. Let's just do a Star one anyway. Because wouldn't it be wild if she didn't? All right, give me 1 second here. Oh, hello. Hello. What do you think, Callis? Is Star gonna get a confessional? Oh. It's hard to see, honestly, anybody leave here but Chrissy right now. There's maybe a little bit of heat on David and Mary, but and I know there's going to be a segment about them. We saw a little bit of push onto Joe, but that's not happening. Um, yeah, I just don't know. Like theoretic, it's not going to be Star. She was completely absent in the first portion. Um, maybe it's Mitch, but like it just makes a lot of sense that it's Chrissy here. I think. Is the classic like purple edit who it's time to have them voted out episode. A surprise Shaheen, not impossible, but I don't think super not impossible actually. A surprise Shaheen could definitely happen. That's probably the second most likely right now. Basically, you just hide the fact that Kyle's trying to that Kyle diverts Chrissy from Joe to Shaheen. Yeah, we're back. Let me know if you hear the episode. I'm playing it through my speakers now. Tacos. Oh, oh boy. The way you have to be watching people like a hawk if you go on a reward like this. Oh, here we go. I was worried about this for Camilla. This is exactly why Camilla needs to do something fast. I'm gonna have to give him dinner soon, so when we get to commercial. Oh. He's tapping me. He's tapping my face. He wants his tacos. We'll go soon, I promise. Okay, okay. I actually could see it being Camilla. I didn't even think about Camilla, but it actually is possible. I think strategically it's tough though. Kyle's never gonna let it happen, so it's not gonna be Camilla. But this is obviously where the David drama comes from. They're definitely gonna tell Kyle he's part of the alliance. Camilla's not. They've been hiding how close they are. All right, I'm gonna run and grab him dinner. Let me know what I miss. Here we go. Here we go. Okay, I'm back. What is her thing? I missed basically the entire explanation. You're not gonna lead with that? Okay. I think Star did not get a confessional, despite just losing her vote. To be fair, I don't think she was even in the segment. So there you go. Next prediction. Can I ask if Eva gets her thing, or is it clear that she's not going to be doing it this episode? The note said tomorrow night. Okay. Um, in that case, what if does Eva tell anyone about her advantage? You could do that. She said she wouldn't. Well, then it's a pretty easy prediction, I guess. Um, this is exactly what I was talking about though with everything about Kyle and Camilla and where they're positioned. They seem so focused on Shaheen, who is at this point seemingly one of the most loyal people to them. Meanwhile, they're so focused on keeping David around and Joe around, and they're the ones entertaining taking out Camilla. It's just their priorities are not like on point here. This does feel pretty Joey to me. This feels pretty Joe winner edit. This whole episode has felt very Joe central. Um, I'm hoping we don't just have like the rest of the season be just like the Joe show, especially because of the content we're getting for Joe, where it just feels so over the top. But we'll see. We're back. We're trying to do strong six now. See, David's doing what Kyle should have done a long time ago. Oh, Kyle is. I don't like this approach from Kyle. I think if you say, I already talked to Joe, he filled me in. I hear what you're saying about Camilla, but Joe and I felt like Chrissy is the better option right now because she's directly gunning for Joe. Of course, they blame the woman. It's Mary that got in his head. It's her fault. Couldn't be David. He's a reliable, honest guy. God, Kyle's approach to Joe is also so heavy-handed. I mean, using Joe is what he needs to do, but Joe has his own motivations to make this happen. But see, now he's leading it. Here's what I do like about what Kyle's doing. He's not giving up. While I don't love the approach, he's, I think, 100% correct to back Camilla this hard. I think people are way too willing to sacrifice their allies in these games. Yeah, now he's in a position where he needs Shaheen to save Camilla. Yeah, I mean, it's exposed at this point. Shaheen is the one person honestly backing Kyle in this, which is so funny. Okay, there's so much going on here. First of all, no, Eva did not tell anyone about her advantage. Second, who is voted out? Is it Camilla, Chrissy, or other? That is the prediction. So I've been basically talking about this since the first merge episode. When they created this alliance and Camilla was not involved, I was like, this is very bad. While I do really like the Kyle Camilla, let's keep our connection a secret strategy, and it worked really well for them on the swapped tribe, and I think it absolutely is something that they should be doing. I think that you have to also make sure that she is included in the alliances, because if you don't do that, you're gonna get into some serious trouble. This kind of like strategy where you can keep your alliance a secret and you don't even need to be in the same alliance together at all can be a little bit more effective on Big Brother because the options of who to vote out are much more limited. And you just have to convince one person. But even then, you often see people on Big Brother who fail to bring their allies into their alliances and then get into a massive amount of trouble because of it. Kyle and his whole situation in BB24, like Alyssa. There are just so many instances of this that you have to make the call when you do the merge, when you bring these people together, to be like, you know what, we were just working so well with Camilla. Shaheen did like Camilla, probably would have agreed to bring Camilla in. There's so many reasons to bring Camilla in at that point. You just try to bring her in then, and then after you vouch for her to bring her in, you can distance yourself from her again in the future. Waiting until now to like pull out all your cards is really transparent and much less effective, I think. And it just left them in this vulnerable position. But I do think that he's still making the right call in this moment for him right now. He should not just give up Camilla. I don't think he should. I think that giving up Camilla might seem like the safe play. It doesn't expose anything. It doesn't get you in trouble with David. But there are so many reasons why I think it's the wrong move. One is that it makes you seem completely neutered in the game. You lost Camilla. Camilla now goes to the jury. Maybe Camilla vouches for you, but like you still lost Camilla. And it makes you seem like you're not the one calling the shots in the end game. Who are the people calling the shots? You know, the people who benefited more from this. That you didn't benefit from it. Additionally, it significantly hurts your chances of getting to the end in a powerful position because you no longer have that extra number, that person you can rely on. And if David is willing to do something like this to you now, who knows what the next move is going to be in the future, and you will have even less leverage to fight against whatever decision he makes in the future once Camilla's gone. Doesn't mean that you can't sacrifice Camilla here and still succeed. I think there's definitely paths for that, but like I am gonna just go, you know what, this is the place where I need to put my foot down, and I need to try to keep her here, because I think your options are just way more open that way, and at least you're actually playing the game that way. I think the issue is mostly of having come into this situation in the first place, in the position that they allowed themselves to be in, and being so focused on Shaheen when ostensibly he's been consistently one of the most pro Camilla people in the entire alliance. We're back, by the way. Here's Cedric. I tried to fit in as much analysis there as possible. A lot of booms. How many? Because that matters when it comes to boom ratings. I don't think Camilla should be giving any indication that she had any idea what was happening. Because if they think that Kyle told her, then she's toast. Theoretically. Which is another reason why once Kyle starts pushing back in the way that he does, you have to push through and take Camilla out. Because now, if he's that close to Camilla, he's gonna tell her if he hasn't already. And things get way trickier. I think that's a fundamental misunderstanding of what Chrissy was saying. Everything Chrissy's saying is 100% the truth. She just shouldn't be saying it. The one season, guys, the one season the strong guys finally said, you know, enough is enough. We've been discriminated against for far too long. It does feel like this is Chrissy. It does. David's attitude here is so emblematic of how people in positions of structural power honestly believe that, like, honestly don't see that. He has a future in right wing media if he wants it. What I will say this narratively, I think it makes more sense for Camilla to leave here. It sets David up as a new kind of villain. It's a big kind of shock to the system of where you thought the game was going. If Chrissy leaves, it feels like this was all, not all, but like it feels like this was just more misdirect, which they have to do if that's, what they have. But it does feel like it's more Chrissy at the moment. Global's reading votes. All right, I'm covering chat. I mean, I would say the Chrissy tribal is misdirect, but it's what happened. Like, they're obviously going to show that argument. Maybe that's not true. Tweaking thing for the 14th. It makes sense, though. Actually, the more I think about it, it makes sense why they were so willing to make it seem so obvious that it was Camilla for so long, because then they had this misdirect of Chrissy at tribal. But also, like, the thing is that it feels like Chrissy kind of knows it might be her, and it feels like Camilla does not think it's her, which is my biggest reason why I think it's Chrissy. Shaheen. Chrissy. Chrissy. Yep. Can I just say, it makes it even worse that they were arguing with her so adamantly, given that they knew they were voting her out. All right, I'm super curious to see what the next time on stuff is, because this should have shaken Kyle and Camilla to the core here, and they have to be against David now. Like, I say that. I imagine they're going to want to take out Mary. I imagine they're going to want to shoot at Mary here. Let me just do this. Chrissy was in fact the one voted out here. There is a world where you pull David back in, and you shouldn't discount that. But I think that what this show, the problem is you don't know why the vote flipped. We don't know why the vote flipped to know like what they need to do moving forward. But obviously, it was just an awful move for David to push so hard and then back off. I mean, clearly the move is to pull in Shaheen to some degree, but the problem with trying to pull Shaheen in is that you've already tried to throw heat onto Shaheen with David. What you could do is say that David tried to throw heat onto him. You could tell Shaheen the reason David wanted Camilla out is because he thought you were too close to her. and that could work. But the problem there, this is the biggest issue. This is the biggest issue, is that no matter what Kyle and Camilla do, they're kind of screwed. Because if you do work with Shaheen, you now have the issue of Shaheen, Joe, Eva. That's too strong a trio unless you can pull Shaheen away from them, which maybe you can. But unless you've been having those conversations and building that relationship, that's going to be tough to rely on. And when you've spent all of your time trying to bury Shaheen, instead of trying to work on with him, like that's going to be tough. Now, Shaheen does still seem to trust them, so the door does seem to be still potentially open. But it's a tough path here. All right, we're back. So I'm curious about this. This is kind of interesting to me. The fact that Chrissy voted Shaheen implies to me that Kyle and Camilla did put the work in with Chrissy to flip her from Joe to Shaheen, and that they were going to try to potentially take that shot this round. When Kyle went to Camilla and said it has to be Chrissy after all, she was like, "What? No," because she really wanted to take a shot. Obviously, they've been wanting to take the shot at Shaheen. The fact that Chrissy did vote for Shaheen tells me that they might have been able to take that shot, if not for this falling back on them. Which is interesting from a winner edit perspective. If this is what potentially saved Shaheen, I think this was not a great episode for Shaheen, and I think that probably only adds to that. Once Star loses her vote, they don't have the numbers against the Strong Alliance. Is that true? Let me look at the numbers. It's 10 votes. Star lost her vote, so 9 votes. If you have Joe, Eva, Shaheen, yeah, I mean, if you can't flip David or Mary, then it's over. So that's true. I don't know how viable their plan was. Maybe they thought they could get David and Mary. But maybe it was a pretty half-baked plan to begin with, and that's maybe why they didn't show it. Yeah, interesting episode. We got a lot in there. That was definitely the best episode I think they've had since the merge. We got a bunch of strategy. I'm just so curious about what Survivor's perspective is on this argument. I think David is clearly meant to seem unreasonable there. Maybe not in the argument itself, but like the whole thing, how strong he was pushing. Although I say that, but like at the same time, he was also shown to be like correctly clocking Kyle's unwillingness to make it happen or to let it happen. Um, but then even like on the next time on, you have Joe saying like his demeanor has changed. If he's talking about David, I think that would say a lot because I think Joe is the person they are really propping up. Um, like Joe is a representation of like the strong players, but he's being protected more. The thing that I like about Shaheen's edit is that he has actively talked about wanting to go against the strong players at some point. Specifically David, actually, which could be a good sign. The problem is that we've just consistently seen Shaheen have these wrong reads, which just feels rough. Joe, I just can't see Kyle having a winner edit right now. I think Camilla's been in a pretty rough spot lately as well. I don't think either of them are out yet, but it's doesn't look amazing. Mary has been so absent for so long. She was a big presence in this episode, enough to keep her in contention, but it also seems tough. I'm just having a hard time seeing anybody other than like Joe and Shaheen just really look like two of the strongest candidates to me right now. And the fact that that conversation between Joe and Shaheen, where Shaheen was wrong and Joe was probably also wrong, but they protected him in the edit. Like, I just don't see Eva as the winner, personally. I just don't see it. I don't think in the edit, I mean. You don't see Shaheen. I mean, what I'm saying, I guess, is that prior to this episode, I think Shaheen was a top contender for me. This episode has shot him down the list, which really only kind of gives me Joe, because I think everyone else has reason to. You have reason to be suspicious about everyone else's edit. Joe is the only person that has had just a clean bill of health the whole way through. The only knock on his edit is that he had one episode where he didn't have a confessional, I think. But I believe that's the same episode where he had the huge moment with Ava on the beach after the challenge. And I mean, he was certainly present enough in that episode that I don't think he needed a confessional to like keep his edit alive by any means. He was basically giving confessional live in the moment. So Mitch is possible, but he is giving me the Charlie Brown edit. Although Shaheen could end up with the Charlie Brown edit with how often we've seen him be wrong. Yeah, right now, as far as I'm concerned, Joe is the only one. Like, there's Joe, and then there's other people. Joe just hasn't had any serious flaws yet. And this was a huge episode for him. I think the biggest flaw for Joe is that he represents this obnoxious, strong person theme that I think you're not supposed to fully agree with. But even though he represents that, they've, I think, done their best to insulate him from it as much as possible. Anyway, interesting stuff. Good episode. Yes, check out the jet lag finale recap that we did. We've got tons of stuff. I did watch The Bondsman. I talked about it a little bit on the Tastemakers. But check out all the podcasts I'm doing: Tastemakers, Jet Lag, Wheel of Time finale. Tomorrow we're doing the Big Brother 16 retrospective. If you haven't voted, BB robbinswebsite.com/BB retrospective. If you want to vote for who of Big Brother 15 should be in the poster for that season. We've got The Last of Us deep dive. Very good stuff. Andor's coming. It's tons of stuff. Tons of stuff. All right. Thank you for hanging out. Hope you enjoyed, and I will see all of you next time.